And Christians will have to answer to God for tolerating this injustice. I mean, I don't know if you've already, some have asked, like, why are you here at a Christian concert? I mean, Matt was probably already talking to you about that. It's because the people here should care.
Yeah, you mentioned the churches thing, so I
oh yeah, they don't care.
Yeah, I've been noticing that around.
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah. How is so you said churches, like just in general, how's it been with Christians, like coming up to you guys and talking to you guys?
At churches,
no, I mean just in general, like whether it's here or at church, it's kind of like an estimate, like kind of like this is what usually happens type thing. If you can kind of give
they don't care, or they try.
You said pornography?
No, I'm talking about I said apathy.
Okay.
So
apathy,
like
okay.
they.
Oh, kind of like we said earlier.
They'll make excuses, or they'll say we do this, we do that, or I'm pro-life, which means I have an opinion that it's wrong.
Yeah.
Or like I donate to the Crisis Pregnancy Center, or I go to the March for Life once a year.
That's, so I paid my dues type thing.
Right, that's
check
cool.
Me off
that's
the list,
like
kinda.
Right. That's
I
your
vote
little token
Republican.
effort, you know.
Yeah. Because that's what Christians are, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I vote Republican. Hey, we just got Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court. He's gonna do our job for us. It's like, guess what? We've had 45 years of Republicans on the Supreme Court, and they've done nothing but strengthen Roe v. Wade. It's like Planned Parenthood versus Casey. Republicans upheld that. So I just told Christians, stop trusting in the Supreme Court. They're not God. They cannot make law. And it's like they should have been defied in 1973. And think about it. In 45 years, we have not had one single state, with all the pro-life governors we've had, not one single state has stood up to defy Roe v. Wade, to defy the Supreme Court over cold-blooded murder. Think about that. Not even over murder would a single governor defy federal tyranny. I mean, you think of all things that should be defied as cold-blooded murder, right? But no. I mean, like in Texas, and what state was it, that they were going to defy the feds over allowing girls or allowing boys into girls' restrooms, if I'm not mistaken. And yet they won't do it over cold-blooded murder. So and the Christians allow them to get away with it. They vote for pro-life Republicans who get into office who do nothing. And there's no consequence. It's like, okay, you regulate it, but, we're going to continue to have our parties and celebrate pro-life regulations that allow these death camps, these abortion mills to remain open. And we think that we've attained victory. We think that we're doing our job. And yet the abortion mills remain open. Children still get murdered. Christians still don't care. And I've been doing this for 10 years, talking to Christians about it.
It's a long time.
It's a lot of pain, a lot of apathy. For 10 years, I went to a Christian college, Bob Jones. And
where's that?
It's in South Carolina. And I can tell you, almost without exception, apathy has been has been what I've seen. I mean, I've seen it so many times. Just Christians don't care. I become known as the abortion guy because I'm the only one who talks about it. When I was at Bob Jones, I was pretty much the only one who talked about it on a regular basis. At least in my sphere of influence. I never heard it really, like in chapel, mentioned maybe once or twice. They never mentioned it on the Roe v. Wade anniversary, not once, until I came to the administration and said, we need to talk about this. This is wrong. You're not addressing this. Your priorities are wrong. But I've seen at churches. I mean, I talked to the pastor, and no, they're not going to do anything. They won't come out to the abortion mill. And I talked to others who've been doing it for longer than I have. Same experience. Apathy. Christians aren't going to do anything. And so it's like Christians doubt me when I say Christians don't care. I'm like, that's been my experience. I've only met a few Christians in 10 years who did anything. I've only met a few Christians in the last decade who had any urgency. And
what do you mean by urgency?
Meaning that,
like, urgency, or what do you mean?
Urgency that they act the same way. Like if a school shooting was going to happen tomorrow morning, they'd do something to stop it. So for preborn children, act the same way. Urgency, meaning that something's going to happen and you're going to stop it. Like, hey, something's going to happen and I need to take action right now. Not just, I'm going to vote for a pro-life Republican, I'm going to let him do my dirty work. No, it's like, I'm going to take urgent action now. Something needs to be done about it now. That kind of urgency. Most,
And you
almost.
saying you haven't met a lot of those?
Oh no.
Past years?
Oh no. I can maybe count them on one hand. Maybe.
I mean, I'm sure there's people who've been in between. Like I'm in between. I'd like to think. Like I was telling you earlier, like this is just something. When I hear about it, I get excited and I want to do something, but I just have. These are kind of excuses. Like at my church, there's just not a lot of things. Yet I can still do something about it. So for me, it's like I don't think I'm apathetic, but I'm definitely not urgent like you guys. So for me, it's like, okay, this is something that I struggle with. Like, how can I grow in this area?
Yeah.
Like you're
I
asking
feel like
what can I do? Is that kind of where you're at?
Yeah, exactly. Because I think. So this is a weird example. But so at Judson, you have like chapel, you have like guest speakers come in.
Yeah.
There's one woman. She came in. She's like 23. She came in and she talked about the movement's called Generation Distinct, and it's like very justice oriented, like being there for the people. But it was very like, guys, like let's do a great job. Like let's get down and let's make a difference, you guys. But I mean, for me and a lot of my other classmates that I talk to, it's like, this is something we've heard about before, but how do you make it applicable for this management major? How do you make this applicable for a ministry major or an architect major? Because she's hitting it home, but it's like,
What do we do?
Like, what?
What do we do?
Exactly, what do we do? And so, like, what she was doing is great things, but it's like, how do you make it applicable for these students? Like, she didn't say it, but it sounded like she wanted to drop out of college. It's like, no, like I'm here to study, to make money in a good godly way, and I'm not gonna drop out of college. It just came off like that, and it's not that you guys are saying that by no means, but I guess for me, it's like when I see these things, it's like, how do I like do something applicable? If that makes sense.
Yeah, like you can speak out against it on social media.
Okay. Yeah.
You can.
That's how I started.
You can use your free
Definitely
time.
this too.
You can use your free time
talking with other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
to go out in the streets with signs like these and educate people. You can go to the places where they murder children in this area, or in the suburbs.
Like the clinicals or whatever they're called.
Yeah, the killing facilities, and you can go there and call out to people as they're walking in and cry out for justice and say, please don't murder your baby. We're here to help you out.
Okay.
There's you know where Wooddale is?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So that's probably the closest one. What was that?
Take a picture.
Sure. That's probably the closest one to you, since you're in Stromberg.
This movement, you're saying?
Like,
or what do you mean?
Like the closest killing facility
Gotcha.
is in
Okay,
Wooddale.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's called Advantage Healthcare.
Okay.
They kill on most days of the week.
You guys got the days.
Yeah. There's
pretty
Planned
neat.
Parenthood in Aurora is murdering around 100 kids every week. It's like the 4th largest in the nation.
Really?
We're probably going to be there tomorrow.
Yeah, we lived in North Aurora, so we're not familiar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because then you said Batavia, like you go to church in Batavia. So, dang man.
That like what helped me, because I've been involved for 10 years. I've been encouraging Christians to get off their butts and do something for 10 years. I mean, just to put it bluntly, and stop watching football and get out to that abortion mill, that death camp, get out to the streets, and like. But honestly, like even years ago, I didn't have the urgency that I could have had because I didn't
So
see.
like grew over time, you're saying?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I have much more urgency than I had 10 years ago, even with as much as I had back then. But what's helped me is seeing others take bold action, get out to the streets constantly. Seeing videos on YouTube helped a lot.
Yeah.
Seeing abolitionists hit the streets constantly, going to Christian concerts, going to the streets, going to any public events, going to high schools with signs, passing out literature, talking to people.
Do you guys ever do that? Like go to high school?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Because I know it's really hard to get that, to be able to do something like that, unless you're in an organization. From what I've experienced, at least.
We stand outside the high school.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I was like, it's kind of hard to go outside. If it's public, it's really hard.
You can stand outside, hand a bunch of literature out as they're going in, and then the whole school's talking about the literature and those weird people outside. And then if you come back later on, when they come out, now they all want to come out and talk to you. Or a lot of them might come out and talk to you.
Well,
great conversations.
I mean, last Friday I was at one, and first time there, and the students came out to me, and a large crowd gathered around and were talking to me. I mean, they were mocking the signs that I was holding, but they're still talking to me and asking me questions, and I was asking them questions. And but like, I really encourage it if you want to know what to do. Check out Abolish Human Abortion on YouTube, and because that's actually why I'm here in the area. Because I actually came from Kansas. Because there wasn't really anyone doing this where I was.
So you do this full time?
No, I mean we both have jobs, and we do this when we're not working. And
Where do you guys work then?
I do animal care.
Okay, nice. Sweet.
I work for a Medivan transportation business. We transport wheelchair-bound people.
Transport who?
People in wheelchairs.
Oh.
In special vans, because like you can't. Put them in a normal.
Okay, you can't put them in like there. Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Like we just get off work and then go to the streets,
So
and
like once a week or?
I don't work in the streets.
most days.
Most days of the week.
Oh wow.
'Cause that's what the situation demands.
Yeah.
Thousands of kids are murdered every day in our country. Millions of people in this area think it's okay to murder children. We have to reach a ton of people on a regular basis in order to change the culture. Because culture is shaped by what people are constantly seeing and hearing and talking about. The churches could influence culture immensely if they would just start talking about this and like going out in the streets and educating people about it, but they don't.
Yeah.
They sit inside their buildings, they have their Bible studies, they have their worship, they're singing their songs.
Yeah.
They watch our football games after service.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
Christians spend more time every week watching football than they do trying to end local mass murder. That's
Yeah.
absurd.
I think I'm trying to take the perspective right now. I think one of the reasons that they might want to do it is because they don't want to make this a political thing. And that's not, I'm not
Oh, yeah.
saying that. I'm just, trying to think about what they might think.
Mindset some
Exactly.
people have.
Like,
They
I think
it's a
the
political
excuse of
thing.
like, oh, it's a political thing. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I this is me speaking. I wouldn't want this to be something that we like fully push and make completely known at church. If that makes
I
sense.
think we
Like
should.
I want it to be known, but I don't think that's the driving thing. Like when I go into a church, the number one thing that I want people walking out is Jesus. Like, what did Jesus do? Like, what was the message on? Whether it was Samuel
This
or
is
Paul.
Jesus.
No, I get that. No, I'm not saying it is. I'm not like differentiating. But what I'm saying
Like
is,
you don't want a church to just be like, let's end abortion. That's their primary focus.
What's up?
Basically, I think what you're saying is a church should not just have its primary focus to end abortion.
Specifically, yes. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, I
I'm all
agree.
for this. Okay, like,
I agree.
okay, I got
It should be it should be gospel centered, and because they're gospel centered, they have urgency to stop this.
yes.
And because
Exactly.
I mean, Christians think that's all you want us to do is to work to end abortion. It's like, well, no, we didn't say that, and it's like preach the gospel and do this, like we do. I mean, we preach the gospel and we do this. We do it at the same time.
Exactly. And they're not different, right? Obviously.
This is living out the gospel.
Exactly.
Just like William Wilberforce.
What up?
William Wilberforce. He lived in the late 1700s, early 1800s. He worked to abolish slavery in the British Empire. Dietrich Bonhoeffer.
Dude, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he was murdered for his opposition to the Third Reich.
Okay.
And they didn't just say, let's just preach the gospel and let's ignore the black men, women, and children who are enslaved. Let's ignore the Jews who are being butchered to death at these death camps. No, they preached the gospel and they took action. They lived out the gospel. But it's like Christians today admire them. They think that these were great men, but when they see Christians today doing the same thing with the modern day Holocaust, they treat them like garbage. They call the police on them. They say, go away, leave us alone, we're not going to do anything. And it's like, okay, so you admire Wilberforce, you admire Bonhoeffer, you admire the abolitionists of slavery in the 1800s, but when you have abolitionists of abortion today in America, you spit on them. You treat them like unbelievers. There's a disconnect. And it's like they don't get it. They don't get there's a Holocaust going on. And our culture is so dehumanized and preborn that it's just normal. It's just normal for children to be murdered, and people thinking, well, that's a special calling for just a few Christians over there, and it's so normal. Just like you go to virtually every pharmacy in our culture, and they distribute pills that murder babies, birth control pills, in vitro fertilization. Children are murdered that way. They're discarded. And Christians do not care. It's become so ingrained in our society, like slavery was in the 1800s. I mean, because Christians in the 1800s in America, it was a status quo. They didn't do anything about slavery for the most part, only a few. So today it's abortion. only a few Christians across this culture are having any urgency to stop this. And I mean, most churches, if there's even one person in there, that one person is doing something while the rest of the congregation are ignoring them. The pastor and the elders are, they're giving the let's just preach the gospel nonsense, and the one person is alone by themselves, trying to get the congregation to do something, trying to get the pastors and elders on board. And it's like the church is leaving them out in the wind by themselves. That's what I've seen time and time again. Because, I mean, so few churches in our culture are known for taking a stance against this, to where they're actually taking action. That's not the way it should be. Is it? Because, I just asked the question, what does true Christianity look like in a nation that does this to children on this sign, that murders children? Does it look the other way while it continues? Or does it take action? I mean, people make the crazy argument, well, Jesus never did this. Or, Paul never preached against slavery or against abortion. So I'm like, yeah. I mean, they said similar things, if not that exact thing. I'm like, so what about Wilberforce? What about Bonhoeffer? What about Harriet Tubman?
Yeah.
What about William Lloyd Garrison? He was an abolitionist in America. Should they have just preached the gospel and ignored their neighbors who are being murdered, who are being tortured? According to you, they should have just done nothing. I mean,
I'd love to talk more, but we're gonna head on.
Okay.
It was good talking.
What were your names?
Julian.
Yeah.
What was your name?
Nicholas.
And then
Matt.
Matt. All right.
Jacob?
I have a YouTube channel you can check out if you want to see.
Oh yeah,
it.
for sure, man.
It's just my name. It's it has a lot of footage on there to like show you like what this kind of work is like. And
I have one too if you want to check.
Yeah, sure.
I just started mine recently.
Awesome.
Is this actually real? Like,
It's
so
happening
it was conceived
in Houston, Texas.
So it was like
that's a
sorry.
second,
So it was like that, but then they
trimester.
decided to kill it. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
it had to be conceived.
Right, that baby was in the womb, second trimester, about 21 weeks old.
Okay. I know it's supposed to be bloody, but obviously not.
Well,
Like, is it usually like this then? Like during that?
what's that?
Is it?
I can give you mine too if you like.
So that's the second trimester, so that's 20, like first trimester is 1 through 12 weeks.
Okay.
And then after that is second trimester. That's
It's a little alien.
it's 10 weeks.
Well, you can see the hands. Yeah, you can see the hand over there, fingers, the feet and legs over here, and the head. I mean that's what we do to children every day. And
Do you guys
it's
want to have kids? Like, do you guys?
oh yeah, I would love to have
girlfriends, or you guys married or something?
single.
Single, okay.
Yeah, both single.
I would love to have children if I ever get married. I would love to adopt children. I would. I mean, I hope that this Holocaust is over by the time I have a family if that happens.
Yeah.
But I would love to adopt children, but I'm actually looking to help with adoptions as a single person right now. Because I'm asking what more I can do about this, There you go. Yeah, it's under my name too.
Okay.
And those videos should encourage you to, because actually before you go, I'll just encourage you that a lot of what got me to start going to the streets most days was seeing abolitionists do this very thing.
Yeah.
And I got very convicted. I'm like, I can do that. And I need to do it right now, even by myself. And I've gone to the streets by myself. I mean, because a lot of people would be afraid to, and I was too. But I'm like, I need to get over myself and do this. And even when I was in Kansas by myself, I would go to the intersections by myself and do it.
Yeah.
But I knew if I joined others, I'd get more bold, and I have, because I'm doing things now that I wouldn't have done before probably. But that will encourage you to take more action.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I
Hey,
appreciate
good to
that.
talk to you guys.
Yeah, you too.
Hey, Julian, Jacob.
Yeah. See you guys.
See ya.
Yep.
Oh, it's smoky. Is that what y'all smoke weed?
You think I smell bad?
One thing I want on the